Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Sean Hubbard, and you have reached the newest episode of HUBBanomics here on Hubbard Wrestling Weekly on YouTube and HWWeekly.com. What a day. What a day. What a week. First of all, I want to welcome you to this newest episode. Once again, my name is Sean Hubbard. Hope everybody's doing well. We realize that the world of professional wrestling is reeling right now with some truly earth-shattering news for any wrestling fan around the world. There's no question about that. Definitely want to thank anybody and everybody for being here this afternoon. It's definitely a situation where we need to take a moment to reflect. First of all, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, who also passed this week. It's been a really tragic week in the world of sports and media. But I wanted to take the time today to talk about something that I think is very prevalent. And I would not be doing justice to the wrestling community, to those who watch me and support me on HUBBanomics, watch and support myself and Conrad on Clash of the Podcast every Monday night at 6:05. There's always going to be, I'm turning my phone down so I won't be interrupted. There's always going to be times in our lives where we are torn, right? Always going to be times in our lives where we're torn and not 100% sure how to feel in particular moments, how to feel in particular situations. There is a level of trepidation for me in coming on the air this evening. Because I honestly know what I want to say, and I want to articulate it the best way I can to give proper credence to both ends of the spectrum. We want to give a big shout out, and I will be reading the comments. Big shout out to the arrivals here. Big shout out to the only Vinny we like. Appreciate you being here, Vinny. M. Leezy for Sheezy, I thank you so much. My tag team partner, my good friend Conrad Cushman is in the building. Jasim, thank you for being here. Delayed Gratz, thank you for being here. BJ, I appreciate you. Let's go through the comments. I want to show you guys and appreciate you guys here today. Once again, the only Vinny we like is in the building. Appreciate you. He says, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. God bless y'all. God bless you too, Vinny. M. Leezy says, good evening, everyone. Wish this was under better circumstances today. I have mixed emotions, to say the least. You're not the only one, my friend. M. Leezy goes on to say, I can't condone what he had said. I can't agree with his actions on the political side, but I can't deny he was my hero. He was my number one. Wouldn't be a pro wrestling fan without Hulk Hogan. That's solid, man. That's solid. Big shout out to M. Leezy. He continues to say, my first piece of pro wrestling media I had was my dad buying me a Hulkamania 4 VHS, Hogan versus Big Boss Man at MSG, in the cage, one of my favorites, matches with Savage, Andre $1 Million Man, and Warrior. Again, I can't argue with one thing you said, my man. I can't argue with one single thing you said. I want to give a place for everybody here to say what's up. Big shout out to my guy, my dog, my friend Conrad Cushman. M. Leezy says, WWE Vault YouTube channel will have the best of Hulk Hogan video tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Always on top of things, M. Leezy, the official social media correspondent for HUBBanomics, EPW, and Clash of the Podcast. We appreciate you. Jasim says, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace. Both living legends in our soul. Legends never die, but they'll be missed once again. Rest in peace. We love you, brother. Respect. Justine goes on to say, Hulk Hogan makes me want to step in the ring and carry a legacy of the late great Hulk Hogan. I respect it. I respect it. Um, Vinny saying this hurts. I respect that. Um, BJ, welcome to the show, my friend. He says I acknowledge what he meant and was done to, and it's done for the business, but I also acknowledge and condemn the type of person he was behind the scenes. That's strong, man. That's strong, and I respect it. I respect it. Roger Murray, welcome to the show for the first time. Rest in peace to the true legend, Terry Hulk Hogan. So many people in here. We appreciate it. Delayed Grad says, for me, I can appreciate the legend Hulk Hogan and what he meant for wrestling. I was once a Hollywood Hogan fan, but I also won't forget what he became later in life. Tarnished his legacy. That's a fact. That's a fact. Vinny says the fact that Hogan was up there with Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson as a pop culture icon shows how he transcended pro wrestling. BJ says, I wish his family the best in healing and dealing with the situation, as well as all the rest of his loved ones, also knowing the circumstances that he didn't suffer much. We all deserve that kind of peace. Respect. Let's get into some stuff, guys. Clown, appreciate you being here, man. Clown says, afternoon, everyone just popping in to drop, show some love. Can't stay wondering around Comic-Con. Enjoy yourself, man. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. Emily says it's truly a topic where it brings mixed feelings. I'm grateful for Hulk Hogan making me a wrestling fan and giving me happy memories. But his actions outside the ring are inexcusable. Let's take it from there, guys. And I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate your attendance. Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, is a cultural icon. No one would ever, or no one with sense. Another Sean in the building. Appreciate you being here. He says BJ is right on the money. Shout out to whoever that Sean is. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Hulk Hogan is a cultural icon. Anybody who says differently or tries to deny that fact would be incorrect in their assessment. Being born in the 80s and raised in the 90s, I am in a age demographic that has provided me an opportunity to indulge in the world of pro wrestling, both from a child and adult perspective, through some of the greatest eras in the history of professional wrestling. I was very young during the Hogan era. I was a teenager during or a preteen during the NWO era. I grew into adulthood with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and the list goes on and on, all the way through Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, the whole 9 yards. Hulk Hogan started this whole thing. All right? Let's make no mistake about the fact that Hulk Hogan started this whole thing. With the tutelage and the collaborative effort that he forged along with the former owner of WWE, they created a revolution. Along with the MTV Rock and Wrestling connection, WrestleMania 1 with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, and Cowboy Bob Orton, Roddy Piper, with Cowboy Bob Orton. Superfly Jimmy Snuka was also there. WrestleMania took over the world. Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania took over the world. Hulk Hogan was the first professional wrestler to ever be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I will say that again. Hulk Hogan will be and will always be remembered as the first professional wrestler to be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Hulk Hogan starred and made a name for himself at WrestleMania 1, but before that, he was a big star by being the opponent of Rocky in Rocky 3. There are situations and times that took place back in the 1980s going into the 90s where nobody could have held the mantle the way Hulk Hogan did. Yes, you could have put the belt on Bob Backlund, which it was for many, many years. There are Bruno Sammartinos, and we give all due respect to people like Bruno Sammartino. But until Stone Cold Steve Austin came along, and until The Rock came along, there was no bigger star in the history of professional wrestling than Hulk Hogan. I'll take you on a little trip down memory lane. The year was 1987. The site was Pontiac Silverdome. Whether you believe that there were 93,173 people in the building, or you believe there was only 78,000 in the building, this event changed the course of wrestling. This event changed the course of history. Once again, whether you believe or not that there were 93,173 people in the building that night in Pontiac, Michigan, just outside of Detroit, I know that many historians claim this event to be the biggest attended, most highly attended professional wrestling event. No. Most highly attended sporting event. No. For over 3 decades, ladies and gentlemen, this event, WrestleMania 3, headlined by Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, was the most highest attended event of any kind in the world. This event broke the world indoor attendance record. Once again, I'll say it for a third time. If you don't believe 93,173 people were there, that is fine. That is your opinion. I wasn't there. You weren't there. Well, maybe you were there, but I doubt you were there. But it was universally recognized as the highest attended event in the history of mankind in the world for 3 decades. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant did that. Hulk Hogan also was part of, I'd say, a love triangle, at least portrayed on television. In my opinion, the greatest tag team of all time to never hold tag team championship gold. Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage with the lovely Elizabeth. This was a love and hate and dramatic storyline that took the world by storm in 1989. You can say what you want about Macho Man Randy Savage, rest in peace. Maybe having a little bit of a jealous streak about Elizabeth, rest in peace. Maybe having some feelings about Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. And his feelings, allegedly, possibly for Elizabeth. None of that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, I want you guys to soak in what you're looking at right now. Soak in what you're looking at right now. This is awesome. Look at those faces. Look at that charisma. Look at the eyes of Elizabeth. Look at the World Wrestling Federation champion Randy Macho Man Savage and his best friend Hulk Hogan and his frenemy Hulk Hogan. It doesn't get any better than that. It can't get any better than that. That was amazing to watch unfold. Was I old enough to remember watching it live? No. But I can watch the Mega Power saga that started in, I'd say, January of 1980. I don't know. Help me out, somebody. Maybe the late stages of 1987, I think it was. Yeah, probably October, November of 1987 through the spring of 1989. Epic. Absolutely epic. Hogan would go on to win 5 WWE championships in his initial run. And then he would go off the scene. He would go to WCW. He would be the red and yellow Hulk Hogan. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Along with Six Pac. Don't lie to yourself and say you didn't have on an NWO shirt. Don't lie to yourself like you still can't hear the NWO music in the back of your head, because you know you do, and you know you can. Don't act like you didn't walk like Scott Hall, throw up the hand signal like Kevin Nash, tell everybody to suck it like Six, and flex like Hulk Hogan. Don't tell me you didn't, because you did. Because you did. And after all that success, comes full circle in 2002, when he had one of the greatest matches of all time with The Rock at WrestleMania 18, when he was already past his prime. And once again, the world embraced Hulkamania, leading the decision makers in Hulkamania, or leading the decision makers, I should say, of World Wrestling Entertainment, to make Hogan, at that advanced age, once again, the undisputed champion. The legacy of Hulk Hogan is undeniable as it relates to World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's get into some of these comments. Sean, I appreciate you being here. My name is Sean like yours. Haha. But I stand with BJM. It's definitely on point with his remark, no doubt. Easy. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you being here. The only Vinny we like, he says, this is very hard. Two things can be two things can be true kind of topic. That's a fact. Conrad showing his condolences and his respect. M. Leezy says, historic moment in WWE history, Hogan versus Andre, WrestleMania 3. Miracle, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, man. Easy says, bro, we know they count in hot dog. Yes, again, we understand. We understand that 93,000 is a little bit of a controversial number. But it was recognized for a long time by many historians. So, yes, it probably wasn't 93,000. But like I said, I wasn't there. You weren't there. If I were a betting man, I'd probably say it wasn't 93,000. But historians recognized it for a long time, for a very long time. Vinny says, has there ever been a wrestler that commanded a crowd more in his prime? Other than possibly Stone Cold or The Rock? Probably not, Vinny. Probably not. Play on Be a Man, Hulk, from Macho Man. We hear you, Easy. 1987, shout out to Emily. You reminded me exactly when that first Mega Power handshake, the Mega Power handshake of 1987 that led to the saga of 1988. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, M. Leezy. Sean, the other Sean. Thanks for remembering Hulk Hogan in a positive way for his fans in spite of his behind-the-scenes remarks. The remarks saddened many of us and made my mouth say, oh, my God, many times. You are not alone. I'm going to get into that very shortly, man. Thank you again for being here. Vinny says, one of the best matches ever, WrestleMania 18. You ain't lying about that. After a very successful, by the way, please be cautioned. This is when it gets real. After a very successful second run in WWE, Hogan would parlay that from 2002 all the way through 2015. In 2014, he was the guest host of WrestleMania along with Stone Cold and The Rock at an unforgettable moment that took place on the show, that opened the show, that ended up becoming one of the biggest nights ever with Daniel Bryan becoming the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The Yes Movement was in full effect. Hulk Hogan opened up that show. Hulk Hogan was part of an absolutely epic run-in with the NWO versus DX when Sting came back to face Triple H at WrestleMania 31. It was a moment in time that will always stand in history for me, because when you think about Sting and you think about Triple H, there was a little bit that was left to be desired when it comes to that match for me, because they were both past their prime, respectfully. But at the end of the day, that Hogan Nash Hall run-in and that DX run-in, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. And, you know, it's something that will always be remembered in my book, always be remembered. But not long after that, a lot changed. A lot changed. Hulk Hogan was heard. I'm not going to go into all the details. It's not really important. Hulk Hogan was heard saying some racially motivated, some, quite frankly, disgusting remarks being recorded. Again, not going into detail, but it was exposed. It was exposed that Hulk Hogan had made some very racial, disparaging comments as it relates to African Americans. I am a very proud African American. I am a black man. And the crazy part is, I was, up until that moment, a Hulkamaniac. Yes. Sean Hubbard, Mr. HUBBanomics, Hubs, I was a Hulkamaniac. And what he said bothered me. And it bothers me to this day. It also bothers me the very controversial stance that he's taken politically. Hulk Hogan. Let me start by saying this. I am a Christian, a very proud Christian. Anybody who watches my show, whether it's here on HUBBanomics or whether the show I do with Conrad, The Clash, I'm an avid Christian. I'm not a perfect Christian, because there is no such thing. I say that to say this. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in forgiveness. I don't like what Hogan said. I don't like what Hogan did. It tarnished my view of Terry Bollea from that moment on. From 2015 until today, I could say untimely passing, surprising passing, my feelings have been negative as it relates to Hulk Hogan, as many others have as well. His comments took something away from our childhoods. Because when you talk about training, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, and believing in yourself, that is not who that man was when we heard him speak on that day. So I think it's safe to say, as we mourn the passing of one of our legends, when I say our, I mean professional wrestling community, We are challenged on this day. We are challenged to make a decision, make a choice. Are we going to continue to be angry at Hulk Hogan, even in his death? Are we gonna continue to be angry at Hulk Hogan even as he rests eternally, forever and a day? I say no. I say no. Because I cannot be who I claim to be, which is a God-fearing man. And yes, a very proud black man. And under no circumstances, if I've not said it enough, I'll say it again. Under no circumstances do I condone what he did, what he said. I stopped being a fan. I stopped being a fan in the summer of 2015. But now, as he's closed his eyes for the final time, it's time to say, rest in peace. Holding on to the anger, holding on to the resentment of a childhood tainted, it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't serve any purpose. I could be angry at Terry Bollea forever, but what will that accomplish? Now, will I continue to stand up against racism? Will I continue to stand up against bigotry? I sure will. But I am also an advocate of forgiveness. So with that being said, I want to say rest in peace to the legend Hulk Hogan. I pray that you have, before you close your eyes for the final time, that is, made your peace with God, are remorseful for the negative decisions that you've made and the negative comments that you've spoken. I would be a liar if I did not say that I still appreciate the contributions of Hulk Hogan as a professional wrestler. He's undeniable. He is a WWE Mount Rushmore guy. It is undeniable. There is a respect for the contributions he's made, because we would not be watching WWE right now, professional wrestling, AEW right now. It would not be what it is now if it wasn't for the contributions of Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan. Outside the ring, different story. But one thing I'm not God. Terry Bollea doesn't have to stand before me on Judgment Day. That's between him and God. So as for all of us, I just say this. As I close out, I want to thank everybody for being here. A tremendous turnout on a random Thursday night. I certainly appreciate it. Jocelyn, I see you. Comment by Vinny I want to highlight right quick. As a believer and follower, I simply pray for him. He did get baptized last year, so I'm taking that as a genuine value. I've simply decided to forgive him, as hard as it is. Yes, I think we share the same sentiment, Vinny. I think we share the same sentiment. I think it's very, very hard. But we are who we say. If we are who we say we are, let's just forgive him and let him rest in peace. So, once again, I want to thank everybody for being here. I pray that racism dies. I pray as a black man that my people get a fair shake in this society, that we all love each other no matter what the color. Look at the people in this chat. Everybody from Jocelyn to M. Leezy for Sheezy to, the only Vinny we like, to Conrad, to Miracle, to, Sean, the other Sean, I appreciate you. BJ is here showing support. Delayed Grats. Roger Murray here for the first time. I appreciate you. Jacine being here. There's nothing but love right here, y'all. Nothing but love right here. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. We'll miss what you brought to us in our youth. And we pray that the mistakes you made before you closed your eyes for the final time, that you repented, because I serve a God that forgives. So I too forgive you. I don't like what you did, but I forgive you because that's what God would have me to do. Until I see you guys on the Clash, God bless. Be encouraged. You know the rest. Evil never prevails.